guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today's tutorial is part 2 in a 3-part series for a dish that we're doing called Vepro Knedlo Zelo, which is a Czech Republic dish. It's actually one of their national dishes. And it basically is roast pork, dumplings, and a sweet and savory sauerkraut side dish. So part 1 of this series, we focused on the roast pork with the pan gravy. And part 2, that's this video, we're focusing on the dumpling part. Now this is a Czech dumpling, so it's not like what we would think of as far as a dumpling is concerned. You kind of think more along the lines of like Southern dumpling. It's not anything really like that. It's more like bread, if you will, to simplify it. But it's absolutely wonderful because it's light and airy and is really like sturdy, so it holds up very well to soups and stews and gravies. Now, this is basically like an Eastern European dish. You could argue Central Europe. It just depends on how you look at it. Some people look at Europe and they go East and West. Some people say East, West, and Central. Czech Republic would be considered Central East. So I guess it's just on how you look at it. But I do have other Eastern European recipes. So if you just click right there, it'll take you to those tutorials. So enough talking. Let's get cooking. So we'll start by adding 3.5 cups of wondra flour, which is a coarser grain type flour, to a mixing bowl. So I ended up purchasing 2 containers of wondra flour. One was not going to be enough, and I did run out in the middle of it, so I had to start my second one. But ultimately, in the end, it's 3.5 cups of wondra flour. Next, we'll add 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar. And then 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then after the salt, we're going to add yeast to our mixture. I'm going to be using a rapid rise instant yeast, so that means it doesn't need to be put into warm liquid to proof. You could add it right to the flour. And then I'll add 1.5 cups of milk that I've warmed slightly in the microwave just to take the chill out of it. And 1 whole egg. And then just mix that all together. Just keep stirring until it comes together. It's going to start to form a dough. It is a little sticky, but it shouldn't be too sticky. Ultimately, I actually ended up adding like another tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of wondra flour to it, because as I started to work the dough, it just really was way too sticky. So you just add a little bit more. Once I did that, I was able to then finally get the dough to come together into a nice ball shape. I smoothed it out as best I could, just like this. Then set it back into your mixing bowl, because we're going to cover that with a towel and set it to the side to rise about 2 hours. Find a nice warm place. Okay, 2 hours have passed. My dough has risen, just like this. And now I'm just going to kind of just break it up or punch out the air bubbles so it kind of knocks it down a bit again. And then I'll just pour out some more wondra flour on a board, because we're going to lightly knead our dough. So I'm just going to work it for a second or two, and then I'm just going to, with my hands, split the dough in 2. So just knead it until it's nice and smooth, and you can form it into a loaf-like shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. Something like this. That's 1. And then I'll just work the other piece of dough into a loaf.
And now I have my 2 loaves. So I'll cover this with a towel to keep it somewhat moist while we bring up some water in a pot on the stove. So here I have about 4 quarts of water in a large pot, and to that I'm going to add about 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt to it, and then just stir to dissolve the salt. Once your water comes to a nice simmer, you want to carefully lower the loaves of dough into the water. Now, I simmered mine uncovered because I did some research and that's what some of the recipes I found did. So simmer it for 10 minutes uncovered and then flip it over and simmer it an additional 10 minutes. So after about approximately 20 minutes, your dumplings are done. So just carefully lift the dumpling out of the water and set it aside on a cutting board. And then as soon as it comes out of the water, you want to pierce the loaves to release the steam. And then I just let them rest for a minute or two, and now we're able to cut them into our little dumplings. And I'll just show you how light and airy and all the little like air pockets that are in there. Beautiful. So now let's plate it and taste it.
Okay, here it is, guys. Our lovely roast pork with that pan gravy, our delicious sweet and savory sauerkraut, and our dumplings. Can't wait to try it. And this is a Pilsner Urquell, or Urkel. And this is brewed in Prague, or at least Czech Republic. This is their beer that we are going to have. Okay. Let's taste. Oh yes. Some pork first. That is so good. So tender and juicy. I'm so happy with that. Let's try our lovely sauerkraut with the bacon and the onion and the sugar. Fabulous. Oh, so good. And now a dumpling. And it's had some time to sit and soak up some of that gravy. Oh my God. That's fabulous. Fabulous. Reminds me of when we were in Prague. And let's wash it down with a little beer. Well, I hope you guys try and enjoy these recipes. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on anything. And as always, guys, until next time,